What if the reason your prayers feel stuck is because you're not praying in the Spirit yet? So many believers speak words to God but feel like their prayers never leave the room, like they're talking to the ceiling, hoping heaven hears. But what if the Holy Spirit has been waiting to lead you into a level of prayer where your words carry power, authority, and breakthrough? A place where prayer becomes a portal, where tongues, tears, groans, and silence speak louder than anything you could ever say. If you've ever wondered why some prayers and nothing happens, while others pray and heaven responds, this message is for you. Because today, the Holy Spirit wants to show you how to pray in the Spirit, how to bypass the flesh, and how to let Him intercede through you with divine strategy. And as you hear this, pay attention to what stirs inside your heart. That's the Spirit inviting you deeper. If something in this message resonates, don't keep it to yourself. Share it in the comments and help someone else step into the place God is calling you to. Now breathe, open your heart, and get ready. What you're about to hear may change your entire prayer life. There comes a moment in every believer's life when prayer feels quiet, almost unanswered. You speak, but it feels like your words stay on earth, never breaking through, almost like you're talking to the ceiling. And deep inside, something whispers, there must be more than this. That whisper is the Holy Spirit calling you beyond flesh-driven prayer and into how to pray in the Spirit, where your own strength cannot lead you. Because breakthrough begins the moment you realize the flesh can start a prayer, but only the Spirit can carry it into heaven. Praying in the Spirit is not a spiritual extra. It is the difference between routine and revelation. The flesh can speak, but it cannot enter the throne room, cannot handle the war zone of prayer, cannot fight spiritual battles with carnal tools. But the Spirit knows the will of God, the strategy of God, and the timing of heaven. When He leads your prayer, you stop reacting to life and start releasing heaven into earthly situations. And if you've ever wondered why some prayers bring breakthrough and others don't, this is the reason.
Real prayer begins with surrender, not effort. Surrendering your agenda, your assumptions, your expectations, letting the Spirit intercede when you do not know what you ought to pray for. That's when prayer shifts from practice to portal, when heaven becomes near and your heart becomes soft to God. Most people never experience this because they pray until they're tired, not until something breaks. Have you ever felt like you stopped praying right before something powerful was about to happen? Every time you decide to pray, something inside you resists. Your mind wanders, your body gets tired, distractions show up out of nowhere. That's because prayer is not just devotion. It's stepping into the war zone of prayer, where flesh and spirit collide. The flesh hates surrender, hates silence, hates anything that pulls you out of comfort and into obedience. Have you ever noticed how everything becomes harder the moment you decide to pray? The enemy doesn't fear loud prayers or long prayers. He fears praying in the Spirit on all occasions. He fears when you stop bringing your own agenda and start letting the Spirit lead, when you stop fighting spiritual battles with carnal tools. Because flesh-driven prayer has no authority, but Spirit-led prayer shakes the unseen realm. That's why the resistance feels so intense, because hell tries to stop you before heaven starts moving. If your prayer life has been under attack, it's because your breakthrough is closer than you think. Real strength in prayer doesn't come from discipline alone. It comes from surrender. The flesh will always say you're tired, distracted, unworthy, or too busy, but the Spirit says, pray until something breaks. This is where warriors are formed, in the tension between what your flesh wants and what your spirit needs. And every time you push past that resistance, something in the supernatural shifts. Have you ever felt that invisible battle inside you right when you start to pray?
Most people think praying in the Spirit is about emotion, a feeling, a shiver, a moment of intensity. But the Holy Spirit is not a feeling. He is a person,
and He prays through you with precision heaven understands. When you do not know what you ought to pray for, He steps in with intercession beyond language, beyond intellect. This is where tongues, tears, groans, and silence become the languages of heaven. Have you ever prayed so deeply that words stopped, but something inside kept speaking? He is not distant. He is not passive. He is not silent. The Spirit Himself intercedes. He takes your weakness, your confusion, your exhaustion, and translates it into the will of God. This is why praying in the flesh is limited, but Spirit-led intercession has authority, because the Spirit knows what's coming before you do. He prays with clarity, direction, and strategy, bypassing your intellect to speak directly to God. And if you've ever felt prayer rising inside you that didn't come from you, that was Him. Letting the Spirit pray through you requires surrender, not performance. It means releasing control, giving Him your tongue, your time, your heart, and trusting His leading. When you stop trying to sound spiritual and simply yield, your prayer becomes weighty, sharp, unstoppable. This is where breakthrough begins, when you allow heaven to speak through your voice. Have you ever sensed the Spirit holding the mic inside you, taking over the moment? There are moments in prayer when English is too small, too shallow, too limited for what your spirit carries. That's why the Holy Spirit releases different languages of spiritual prayer: tongues, tears, groans, and even holy silence. In tongues, your spirit speaks directly to God, uttering mysteries by the Spirit, bypassing your intellect entirely. In tears, your heart intercedes in ways your mouth never could, carrying burdens heaven understands. Have you ever cried in prayer without knowing why, yet felt something shift inside you? There are prayers that rise as groans, groanings too deep for words, when your spirit pushes through resistance and releases what your mind cannot express. Groans are not weakness. They are spiritual labor, the sound of breakthrough being born. And then there is silence, the kind that isn't empty but full, a silence where the Spirit aligns your thoughts with the mind of God. Each of these languages carries weight, authority, and revelation. If you've ever felt one of them rise unexpectedly, it wasn't emotion. It was the Spirit leading you. Praying in the Spirit means letting God choose the language. Sometimes He speaks through tongues, sometimes through tears, sometimes through that deep groaning, and sometimes through stillness so holy that time feels suspended. The flesh may criticize these moments, but the Spirit calls them communion. And every time you yield to His voice, no matter the form, heaven moves. Which of these languages has God used to speak through you? There comes a moment when prayer stops feeling like a routine and starts feeling like a doorway into the unseen, where prayer becomes a portal, not a practice, and the atmosphere around you begins to shift. This happens when you stop praying from the flesh and start praying from the throne room, led by the Spirit instead of your own strength. It's the difference between repeating words and releasing heaven's will into earthly situations. Have you ever felt a moment in prayer where time seemed to stand still? This kind of prayer requires persistence, the willingness to tarry until power comes. It requires pressing beyond distraction, beyond emotion, beyond routine, until the Spirit takes over. This is where you move from the outer court into the Holy of Holies, not physically, but spiritually. And in that place, revelation flows, burdens lift, and the presence of God becomes real, tangible, alive. If you've ever stopped praying right before something shifted, you know how thin that veil can be. Prayer becomes a portal when you refuse to settle for surface-level spirituality. When you press in, beyond fatigue, beyond silence, beyond what you feel until heaven answers and hell retreats. This is not about saying more words, it's about surrendering more deeply. And when you reach that place, something supernatural always responds. Have you ever pushed through until prayer felt like stepping into another realm? There are battles you cannot win with logic, emotion, or routine prayer. Some situations require heaven's strategy, and only the Holy Spirit knows it. He sees what's hidden, understands what's coming, and intercedes according to the will of God, not according to fear or urgency. When you pray in the Spirit, you're not guessing. You're releasing divine solutions into earthly problems. Have you ever prayed and felt guidance rise inside you that you didn't think of yourself?
This is why the flesh cannot lead prayer. It reacts to circumstances, but the Spirit responds to truth. He knows the enemy's moves before they happen, and He equips you with weaponized worship, authority, and revelation that breaks strongholds. This is not emotional prayer. This is strategic intercession, where heaven dictates the direction. And when you let Him lead, you're not begging God to intervene. You're declaring His will over situations that seemed impossible. If you've ever felt prayer shift from reaction to authority, you've tasted this dimension. Praying in the Spirit aligns you with God's blueprint, not your assumptions. It's where you stop praying small, safe prayers and start praying bold, targeted, heaven-shaped prayers. It's where your words stop being requests and become decrees, not because of your power, but because of His voice in you. And every time you yield to the Spirit, you step into a place where breakthrough is not only possible, it becomes inevitable. Have you ever sensed the Spirit guiding your words like He already knew the outcome? There are moments in prayer when you feel resistance, not from God, but from the spiritual realm around you. This is where the Holy Spirit calls you to pray until something breaks, pushing through spiritual opposition and demonic delay. Breakthrough isn't always instant. Sometimes it's birth. And birth requires travail, the deep, unexplainable groaning where spiritual labor produces spiritual results. Have you ever felt a weight in prayer that didn't come from you, yet pushed you forward? This dimension is where prayer becomes more than words. It becomes warfare. You are not fighting people. You are pushing against strongholds that only break under Spirit-led persistence. This is the realm where as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth, where you pray until what is in heaven manifests on earth. It's not comfortable and it's not quick, but it is powerful. If you've ever pressed through until peace suddenly flooded you, you've tasted this birth. Praying in the Spirit means refusing to stop early. It means praying past fatigue, past silence, past confusion, until something breaks and something new is born. Because every spiritual birth requires persistence, surrender, and partnership with the Spirit. And when it happens, everything changes, not just around you, but inside you. Have you ever felt prayer shift from pressure to breakthrough in a single moment?
Prayer was never meant to be an event. It was meant to be an identity. When you pray in the Spirit consistently, your life stops being divided into prayer moments and regular moments. Instead, your life becomes the altar, a space where God can speak, convict, guide, and release His presence at any time. This is what it means to become a house of prayer, living in a state of surrender and awareness of the Spirit. Have you ever felt God speak to you outside of prayer because you stayed connected? This lifestyle means you pray without ceasing, not because you're always talking, but because you're always listening. Every room, every car ride, every quiet moment becomes communion. The Spirit shapes your reactions, your thoughts, your atmosphere, because you carry constant communion everywhere you go. And suddenly, spiritual consistency stops feeling hard. It becomes natural. If you've ever felt peace settle on you in a chaotic moment, you've tasted this place. Being a house of prayer means keeping the flame alive. It means staying full of the Spirit, refusing to leak, and choosing fresh oil, fresh bread, fresh fire every day. It means guarding your atmosphere so heaven has room to move in you. And when your life becomes the altar, prayer isn't something you visit, it becomes who you are. Do you feel God calling you to live from this place? Staying full of the Spirit isn't accidental, it's intentional. You can't live on yesterday's encounter or last week's prayer. That's why the Bible calls you to be filled with the Spirit, continually receiving what heaven pours out. Because without renewal, you start leaking, spiritually depleted, emotionally drained, fighting battles without power. Have you ever felt spiritually empty even though you believe?
Consistency in prayer doesn't come from emotion. It comes from rhythm. Daily moments of praying in the Spirit, short or long, build inner strength and stability. This is how you keep fresh oil, fresh bread, fresh fire burning inside you. Atmosphere matters too. Where you walk, what you listen to, who surrounds you. If you've ever noticed certain environments weakening you spiritually, you know why this matters. Long-term prayer in the Spirit means building yourself up in your most holy faith every single day. It means refusing spiritual laziness and embracing the discipline that births clarity, authority, and peace. It means choosing communion over chaos, presence over pressure, spirit over flesh. And as you stay full, you become unshakable, a life saturated with God's presence. Do you feel the Spirit inviting you to a deeper daily rhythm? The Holy Spirit has never been hesitant, distant, or unprepared. He is always ready. Ready to intercede, ready to guide, ready to break chains you didn't even know were there. But He waits for one thing, your surrender. Because praying in the Spirit is not about skill, it's about availability. Have you ever sensed God waiting on you more than you were waiting on Him? He is willing to lead you into a deeper life of prayer, one marked by power, revelation, clarity, and breakthrough. A life where you don't pray from the flesh, but from the throne room, partnering with heaven instead of fighting alone. A life where prayer becomes a portal, where your spirit stays full, your altar stays burning, and your communion stays alive. This isn't reserved for pastors, prophets, or spiritual people. It's for every believer who says yes. Do you feel that pull inside you, urging you to go deeper? The Spirit is willing, but He doesn't force. He invites. He whispers. He draws you into a rhythm that transforms everything, your atmosphere, your battles, your identity. If you say yes, your entire prayer life will shift into a dimension you've never known. And if this message stirred something in you, share it in the comments. Your journey may awaken someone else. Are you ready to let the Holy Spirit pray through you like never before? You've just walked through a journey many believers never experience, the journey of learning how to pray in the Spirit. And now the Holy Spirit is inviting you to go from understanding to living it. Because everything changes when you stop praying from the flesh and start praying from the throne room, letting Him intercede with power, clarity, and breakthrough. If something in this message stirred your heart, don't ignore it. That nudge, that warmth, that pull inside you, that's the Spirit calling you deeper. What part of this message spoke to you the most? Share it in the comments below. Your voice might be the confirmation someone else has been praying for. As you leave this video, remember this. When you pray in the Spirit, heaven moves and hell backs up. May your life become the altar, may your prayers become the portal, and may the Holy Spirit fill you with fresh oil every single day. If this blessed you, feel free to like, subscribe, and keep walking with us on this journey of faith. The Spirit is ready. Now it's your turn to say yes.